Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're looking at the USO, the UUP, the GLD, the TLT, and the GDXJ. We follow the daily, weekly, monthly time frames. We use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. If you like these videos, go to StockBookie.com, sign up for the free membership, or go to YouTube and subscribe. So let's get right into the daily USO, 43 million on the day. 21 cents down, or 2.26% on the day. We're back below the MAs, weak stance, trying to make a run again. It did hold the 618 in this little pivot here, never made it to gap fill or the 750, and it just popped. So now we're down, we're sideways, slightly bearish, coming that. We are in a slightly bearish stance below the MAs, so we got to watch for that. Right now we had a great run, just a little bit of a pullback. Let's see if that leads us to higher prices or another pattern here, possibly setting up for lower prices. I still think we're going low because Janet Yellen and her team, they cannot handle higher oil prices with raising the rates. This is the next stimulus, guys. Keep the oil low and try to keep this thing going. Try to keep the show moving. Weekly chart, same thing. Back below the MAs, setting up though, down sideways on the weekly. If this keeps setting up, this 20 MA comes curling down in the price, this will send us down to probably double bottom, $8 area, $8.50 or $8.50, $8, $7.50, and so on and so forth. And then double bottoms right around $7.65 or so. So if we hit that, we're going to $7.50, no doubt. I still think they need lower oil prices, but we'll see how these patterns set up in the next week or two. Let's go to the UUP. UUP, guys, still a little bit weak. It was up 4 cents, but no big deal. Daily chart, let's start with that. So daily chart, same thing. Down, sideways, bearish, down, sideways, starting to get bearish. Back below the MAs here. It's starting to go in another bearish pattern. I still think we're going to 24 bucks down in here when this is all said and done. If this pattern fails, though, then we're going towards, we got to recapture the MAs, fill the gaps, hit the high pivot, then you're going for the trend line and the 200 MA. So you still have some gaps to fill up here, but if this pattern fails, it's going to be a stronger move to the upside and the dollar will start ripping possibly. So you got to watch out for that. Right now, bearish pattern. This is setting up possibly for the $24 area if it plays out. Weekly chart, like we talked about, same thing. This is what they're doing. Down, sideways, down, sideways. Pretty much down. Little retrace, down, little retrace, down, little sideways, down, sideways, down, boom. I think the target is the $24 area. If this fails, goes back up, then you're looking at the 25.80, blah, 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 stuff like that. You're looking at the high pivots, gap fills, stuff like that. But I'm still thinking this one goes a little bit lower before it starts to go higher. So just watch out for that one. Let's look at the GLD. GLD, guys, getting the beat down. I mean, what else can you say? But it is holding this area around 115, so little bit, I mean, it's okay. It's nothing great, but it is holding. It's still above this trend line here, which is still okay, but a little bit weak, guys. We're still in a position long. We added some longs a couple days ago. A little bit under the water, but I'm going to hold strong and see what happens in the next in the week to come, guys. It was a holiday week. It was really slow. You had 55 million on the SPY, so I want to see more conviction in the following week. I want to see a full week of trading and see where this one could possibly go. We did break the trend line though. This is the weekly. Let's see if we just pop, go right back up. This continues lower, then we will have lower prices to come. Then it could get ugly on the GLD. We talked about this big trend line for a while. It did get below it. Now the weekly close, I want to see some follow through and get back down here. If we just click over and go right up, bullish, you got to get back above the MAs here, fill some gaps, etc., etc. Go for the high at 123.29. We reach that, gosh, I think we could break out and get to 131 or 130 at least, so maybe higher. So let's keep an eye on this one. Let's see what the gold will do. This is the weekly. Let's go to the daily. Daily, same thing. It's trying to hold on in this area, so let's see what it does next week. We're still back below the MA, still in a weak stance. This is down, this is sideways. Let's see if we chop around. Let's see if we retrace. If we follow through to the downside, then I might be taking the rest of that gold trade off that we have. And one for a loss, one for a gain, and pretty much just evens out and we'll go from there. So we're going to see what happens, guys. You know, they're shaking people up and down just like in oil. This is what they're doing in gold. Everyone was trying to go, oh my gosh, it's going to double top. This could be the breakout. And then all of a sudden, boom, they slam it in everyone's face. $8 down, and here it is sitting there going, wow. You know, most people go all in on these trades, so they might even have margin calls. Who knows? It's not that big of a move down, but if you load the house on this, you could be getting rocked right now. So just be careful with the gold. We need a nice reversal day straight up, get above the MAs, and then we'll talk about that. We always talked about the MAs on the daily. We're back below, so it's a little bit weak stance, so just be careful. The TLT, guys, same thing, getting rocked. We came into this trend line. This is big. Let's see if we get some follow through, and down to this side we have some gaps to fill, gap to fill. This low pivot where it's holding right now. A little bit oversold. Let's see if we get the bounce. Bullish, you got to get back above the MAs, or at least these two, the 50 and the 20, fill the gap and then possibly chop around, setting up for higher prices. This thing comes around, this thing stays in the lower end and chops around. That could be possibly setting for the 120 area and then possibly lower. Let's go to the weekly. Weekly chart though, ugly, guys. Boom, came right into this big red bar from November, actually, long time ago. Came back, retraced up, boom, two weeks straight down, guys, right in a good support. So we're holding support down here, 20 in the 200 MA. How long will it last? Well, we're gonna find out next week. Looking for a close, looking for a follow through. That's what you got to have if you want more down prices. So next week you got to close, I would say, below the 200 MA and below the trend line. That would possibly bring us to lower prices on the TLT. This is the weekly, bigger time frame, guys. So it could take a little bit longer, or it could overshoot and then reverse and come right back up. So watch on the weekly. Daily chart, like I said, a little bit oversold here. Maybe you get a bounce. If not, then you got the level here, the gap fills and stuff like that, and ultimately the 120 where the trend line is too. So watch for that. TLT, guys, though, a little bit weak. Nice pullback. Let's see what comes up after this, because remember, we got about the same pullback here, and look what it did. If you measure it here, let's measure this move. Look at that move. Oops. Of course it's going to do that. Why wouldn't it do that? We'll just keep doing it over and over, guys. So if we take that, let's see the measured move here. Yeah, almost about the same. We're looking for symmetry, guys, and that has some pretty good symmetry of the same move moving down. So let's see if this catches an area. It did almost catch the gap window here, and then the gap fill down here, but it almost caught these low pivots and got a little bounce before that. So let's see what happens in the following days. Let's go to the GDXJ. GDXJ, guys, starting to break down a little bit. We're back below the MA, so it's in a bearish stance. Now we're down. Let's see if we go sideways. We are holding the 750 retrace, so you have to have some respect for that, and gap fill down here, and these double bottom areas as well. So we held that pretty good. Let's see if we turn around and go right back up. Remember what they do. They get everyone sucked in here. They suck them out. They start to rally this thing. They buy back in here. Then they suck them out again. Bring it right to gap fill, 750. Let's see if it goes down. You still have another gap fill down here. Low pivot. I still think we're going to 2743. That's the area we've been waiting for. If this little trend line breakdown starts to play out, little head and shoulder too, the target area would be right about in this area. So watch out for the GDXJ. Right now it's a little bit weak, but if it starts closing below, say, 30 bucks or so, then it could possibly start on the lower side path. Weekly chart. Same thing. There's your trend line. Try to get back above the 200 MA. Came right back in, holding the 750. Let's see if it holds that. If not, then your next level is 127.39 if it gets there. So overall, guys, market's okay today. We had the jobs report, pushed everything up, and here we are today, except for oil, of course, and the TLT. Those things are just getting washed out. So watch out for those, guys. Those are very important to watch, and just keep an eye on the overall markets. And thanks again for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. God bless. See you on the charts.